Hi, everyone. This is Suzanne Penn, and today I will give you an overview of producing a 5 paragraph informative essay with your third and fourth grade students. We are going to go through a step by step guide to informative writing using thinking maps for deeper thinking and to process information. We will be using 2 mentor texts, 2 circle maps, which are designed to help define words, ideas, categorize, brainstorm, show prior knowledge, show learned details or facts, connect to self and world. We'll be using flow maps that are designed to outline the details, give examples, elaborate, and begin to connecting to the thinking, which will in turn become our paragraphs. And finally, we're going to be using a 3-fold 9 map that's designed to outline a 5 paragraph essay, including the introduction paragraph, the body paragraphs, and the conclusion paragraph, all color coded for the students. Although thinking maps and charts can be printed and copied, the maps and charts have a positive benefit for students when they are involved in building their thinking fluency. This particular writing overview comes from many sources, but the actual routine comes from High Vibe Teaching, who has a YouTube channel, so you might want to look her up. Within this process, there are many opportunities for mini lessons, such as grammar within context, vocabulary development, steps to the writing process, as well as formative assessments. And formative assessments with feedback help monitor the progress the students are making throughout the charts, the independent work, partner work, sentence sense, use of keywords, and self and peer assessments. So let's get started with informational writing for third and fourth graders. Step number 1 is to gather your 2 paired nonfiction texts on the same topic. You can use ReadWorks, News ELA, Common Lit, because they are leveled according to grade. You will have to create circle maps in 2 different colors, and you will have to create the flow map prior to starting your unit. On day 1, step number 1 is to introduce what informative writing is all about. Therefore, there's your first mini lesson. Step number 2 of day 1 would be to introduce the prompt. This, in this case, it could be something along the lines of, how can we take care of our planet? This is also an opportunity for another mini lesson by learning how to deconstruct the prompt. Continuing with step 3 of day 1, you are going to hand out source number 1, and notice how it's labeled source 1, and you're going to hand out 1 circle map in the same color to every student. Students will write the source number and the title in the inner circle of our circle map. Notice it's source 1, notice it's source 1. Together as a class, we will be numbering our paragraphs. This is also a good idea to continue throughout to reinforce the indentation of each of the first lines of the paragraph. For the first read, you will read as the teacher every single paragraph aloud. Starting the second read, the teacher will read and think aloud about the details that he or she will underline throughout the first two paragraphs. The students will then record the underlined information on their circle maps. The students, along with the teacher, fill in the circle map for the first two paragraphs. Again, the teacher is the one doing all the work and showing the students how to underline. You can use an overhead or a box light, Promethean board, whatever you have. Paragraphs 3 and 4 are done with partners. Usually, people sitting next to them is the easiest thing to do. And as partners, you are having them write whatever they underlined down into their circle maps, along with you rotating throughout the class, making sure they have proper details and not just frivolous words. One of the first opportunities to use formative assessment would be when, on their own, the students by themselves will do the last paragraph, record the information, the source, the paragraph, and then circle it in red. And this is what you look at. All the other things you've looked at throughout the day, and these you did together. Now, what's up here are any words and definitions that might help, or anything that's related to reusing or recycling, such as Goodwill stores. This is where you might want to discuss any connections to begin having them think about how this relates to them. So that's day one in a nutshell. That should take you about 30 or 40 minutes. Now we're at day two. You're going to repeat the same process you did for day one for source one. You're going to have the students number their paragraphs. Again, point out the indentation for each paragraph. Make sure it's labeled source two. You're going to give them a different color circle map, and they're going to write the source number, the title, and since this is only 4 paragraphs, you're going to do the first one with them, again on an overhead or a box light, and have them write it down as well as underline it in the text. Have them write it down, put source number 2, and label it paragraph 1. Partners will do number 2. Again, they're both underlining, writing, labeling. They're doing also as partners paragraph number 3, underlining, writing, labeling. And they are doing the 4th paragraph by themselves and making sure that they circle it in red because this will be another formative assessment. Again, you are walking around looking at the examples or details that they write down for paragraphs 2 and 3. This is not activities where you do not get up and move as the teacher. Up here, you can also discuss to get them to begin thinking about questions or understanding how to make connections. You may have to do this several times with them, if not throughout most of the year, finding words, defining them, and asking them a question, having them write it down, or maybe even researching a little bit more if you have time, and so on and so forth. At this time, for the following day or before the third day, their information that they did independently will be graded and handed back on the third day. So on day 3, we're going to be starting with the flow map that you created for them to use. It'll take you maybe 5 minutes to copy these boxes enough for your class. Here is another opportunity of creating a mini lesson in regards to transitions, which really should be posted. And initially, you're going to be given the transitions that are going to be used in their essay for them. And you may have to do this for a good 6 months before they can pick and choose which ones are appropriate for the type of informational writing that they are doing. So in essence, this flow chart basically takes the information from source number 1 on their circle map and put it in column number 1. Then they're going to take information from source number 2 and put it in the second column. And then in the third column, they're going to choose the detail that they want to use to put the information in here. So let's go on how this actually works. The first thing that students are going to do is to color code each of the columns. I would use crayons or colored pencils. I wouldn't use markers here at all, even for the circle maps. So before we get into the flow map, I did give you in one of the resources sentence stems or sentence starters for elaboration and introducing textual evidence. So that's something that they could have in their writing folder, or it could be something that you have in a chart around the classroom that they can refer to at all times. So after the students outline in the different colors the flow map, you're going to ask them to circle in orange a detail that you're going to use as the first detail. So this is the one I want them to use. There are several mini lessons that you can use here too, such as paraphrasing details, of course, using the sentence stems, citing the source, or even elaboration commentary. So after you have the students outline in the appropriate colors for each column, you give them the transition phrase or word that they're going to be using at the beginning of the second, third, and fourth paragraph. And a flow map basically takes the information from source number 1, and that will be all the orange. So you would have the kids, like I said, circle the detail that you're going to be using in orange, and you're actually doing this for them, either on a whole overhead or a box light, where you are writing the sentence, discussing what's going on, looking at transition phrases, and working on the elaboration. This is very hard for them, so you need to do that with them. So in source number 1, we choose detail number 1. In the green section, which is the third paragraph, you have them circle the detail that you're going to be using in green. Green matches green. And again, you follow the process on how to do the transition and write the elaboration. The elaboration, like I said, is going to be a difficult one. And then the blue section is where the next formative assessment comes in, where they're going to have to actually write this on their own, choosing and highlighting or circling in blue whichever detail they want to use next. And they have to use the transition phrase, the source, and the elaboration sentence. So we have the detail 3, the transition phrase or word with the source, and the elaboration. That it's important that they know that they have to have all those 3 components. So again, in the orange is from detail 1 is from source 1, detail 2 is from source 2, and detail 3 on their own, they choose from either source 1 or source 2. When you initially do this, it may take longer than 30 or 45 minutes, but it's important that you follow through with doing each of these steps with them so that they have some sense of success on the last one that they're expected to do on their own. And again, it's over time, they will build that confidence. Day 4 is creating the threefold 9 organizer that the students are going to use. Again, really important for them to create it on their own. So first, you give them a piece of paper and you model showing them how to fold it into 3s. Again, it's not going to be perfect. Remember, we're dealing with 3rd and 4th graders. I'm not perfect either. Upon opening up, you're basically going to have them take a colored, a black or a pencil, black marker, black crayon, or pencil. You're going to have them count down 5. You're going to have them draw a line across. Count down another 5. Have them draw a line across. Count down another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Have them draw another line across. And these are the only ones that basically get boxed in. And then you're going to have a part up here. And if you count down another 5, again, initially when you do this with the kids, they're going to be, what am I doing? Where do I have to draw a line? Take your time. That's what we're there for. We're there for patience, guidance. They need to learn. And the only way to do that is to show them. So basically, it should look something like this. And again, it's not going to be perfect, but it'll be something that they created and that they can be proud of. So if you notice, the introduction is in red. In the orange column, in essence, will be all of this information will be rewritten here. In the green, which is paragraph 3, will be all of this information from the flow map put into here. And the blue, they are going to be doing on their own, just like they did the blue here. So here's where you have your chances to do mini lessons. Introduction and conclusion. So on day 4, you're really only going to be concentrating on the introduction as the mini lesson and having them copy the information from their flow map into the correct spaces. Orange goes with orange, green goes with green, and blue goes with blue. You're going to complete the introduction as a class. Days 5 and 6, you're going to again be concentrating on the body paragraphs, making sure there's sentence sense and so on and so forth, especially for their independent paragraph. And you're going to be working on doing the conclusion with them so that you can keep showing them the different parts. If you notice up here, there's a place for them to write the title of their piece. Very important. It's actually a a good point to make if you take the time to write a title for whatever you're writing for testing purposes. On days 7 and 8, you're going to have them type out all of the information that they have here into a Google Doc where you can discuss indentation, using the tab button, using spell check, and even Grammarly. It's a program that is free and easy to use to help them with their sentence sense. You can also have them write it out if you want to, it's up to you. But with the typing, you're not only going to have them work on writing a title, indenting the paragraphs, you're also going to have them color code each of the paragraphs. Red, so they're going to type in red the introduction paragraph, type in orange the second paragraph, type in green the third paragraph, type in blue the fourth paragraph, and type in pink the conclusion paragraph. Now, I would personally then print out their information because they get to see the various colors and what their final product is. But the last thing I want them to do is create a cover sheet. So on the cover sheet, they're going to have the title that they chose, some type of picture of whatever. It could be cut and pasted, however you want to do that, or it could be hand drawn. And of course, their name. So, how does it all get handed in? Well, they're going to make basically a little report. They're going to put at the back their sources, source one and source two. Then they're going to put in their circle maps. They're going to add their flow map. They're going to add their threefold 9 information, and finally, their cover, along with a printed out copy of their work or a handwritten copy of their work, either way. With the cover on top, that's what I'm grading.